I'll just leave this off. I don't care about this right now. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to T-Shirts and Tea Tuesdays, guys. Now, listen, I know y'all heard that wonderful music coming in. Y'all already know what that intro music do. Y'all should be in the groove. Y'all should be getting ready. I know y'all just saw our guest backstage. She is waiting to come out and greet everyone, but I'm gonna bring her back in a few more seconds. Let's go ahead and get our housekeeping stuff in place. Y'all already know how I go. Y'all know the routine. I'll need for you guys to make sure that you like, share. Listen, trickle a little bit of this drizzle, this little bit of drip down on y'all news feed to your family, your friends, your co-workers, because they need to be in here to get this good old-fashioned, tantalizing, effervescent acumen, honey, this hot tea that we spill every Tuesday on T-Shirts and Tea Tuesdays, honey. Listen, and also we need to hear from you in the comment section. Y'all make sure that y'all come in, y'all put your questions in there, share your information, ask questions, guys. We have experts on our platform that are here for it. This is what they come here for every single week. So love, I want to see some hearts. Please heart our show. And also leave us a 5-star review. I think we do a fantastic job here giving you content, bringing forth information that will help to create a foundation for you to launch your business or either leverage and grow your business. Even if you're not into business, it's knowledgeable information that you receive that you can apply to your lifestyle. Period, poo. So anyways, guys, also, I would like to say thank you to our production team as well as my makeup artist, Miss Tyra Renee, over on Instagram, guys. If you want to do a course with her for her to teach you how to do your makeup, or if you want to book her, she travels, she's open. Make sure you guys hit her up, Tyra Renee, on Instagram. And I want to say thank you all for taking the time out to tune in this evening. I love hearing from you. I love getting the feedback. Again, we would like for you to share. Why? Because on T-Shirts and Tea Tuesdays, honey, sharing is caring. We love y'all. We love you guys. And so with that being said, I want to go ahead and share with you guys a little bit about our last week's guest. So guys, if y'all missed last week's show, we had Mr. Dante Ross, who is a custom jewelry maker. Mr. Dante is the owner and founder of Designs by Zulu, guys. And we're going to go ahead and give y'all a little playback from last Tuesday. Now, make sure that you go in and hit him up and also tune into the show for last week after this show. Okay, we'll be right back right after this. Y'all saw those beautiful pieces. He is just amazing at what he does. He has even more pieces over on his Instagram page. He's on YouTube, he's on Twitter, and he's also on Facebook. So make sure that you go over to Designs by Zulu on Instagram and on Facebook, and over on Twitter, he is under Dante Ross. Y'all check him out, purchase some of his product. He does an excellent job at what he does. He's definitely anointed and gifted for that. Now, I want to make sure that you guys know to tune in on next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we have a patent and trademark attorney on our platform to help you safeguard your brand. And so you definitely want to be here. You want to be plugged in, and make sure that you guys have your notebooks and pads ready, because he's going to bring the tea. And let me tell y'all something. We used him for our branding material to be patent, and he is not expensive at all. It's hard to find good attorneys that are not trying to break your bank. Okay. So you definitely want to make sure that you are here so you can hold on a little bit of those coins to reinvest back into your brand, right? Okay. So yes, y'all make sure that you tune in on next week to hear from Mr. Brian Tooks. He is an attorney and he specializes in registered patent and trademarking. So guys, make sure you are here on next Tuesday at 7:30 p.m. And if you know anybody that's in business, if you're not in business for yourself, make sure you share that with them. Okay, share. Again, sharing is caring. Now that I've gotten all of that out of the way, all of the formalities, it's time to get down to the nitty gritty of it all. Listen, we have a guest on this week. Let me tell you something. If you found yourself stuck, you're doing business, or you're in a career path where you're not happy, you don't have any joy, and you feel like you succeeded, you've done all these great things, but at the end of the day, you don't feel fulfilled because you know that your purpose has not yet been fulfilled in this earth, you are in the right place tonight. Because with us, we have Dr. Lynita Mitchell-Blackwell. Yes, you heard that right. Miss Lynita Mitchell-Blackwell is in his house, and she is going to be spilling some great tea for y'all. For me too, because honey, look, I got my pen and I got me some paper up here, because I'm going to be taking notes, because I need to hear from her tonight. So before I go ahead and bring her on, I do want to do something a little bit different that I didn't even tell my producer about. I want to read a little bit of information about her from her website, because when I visited her website, the information that was shared really kind of hit home to me. Like, it made me think. And so I do want to share that. Now, before I go into her website and read a little bit of her content, I do want to share the fact that she is a best-selling author. She is an intuitive business coach, attorney, and CPA, y'all. Okay. Listen, so if, like I said, if you're in a little fall where you're stuck and you're not feeling like you're successful, you feel like you've succeeded, you've done everything that you've desired to do, everything that you wanted to do, but at the end of the day, you left feeling empty, you in the right place. Because listen, y'all heard all that whole list, that resume. I'm sure that she can bear a lot of witness to feeling like that after she's accomplished all of those things. So who better to hear from than someone who has reached the pinnacle of success and might have experienced the same thing that we're experiencing right now and not feeling completely 100% fulfilled. So now I'm going to share a little bit of the content that I was telling you about from her website. And you guys want to make sure that you go to her website, LynitaMitchell-Blackwell.com, and you can see the same thing that I'm getting ready to share with you right now. You feel the shift and see the void. You succeeded in everything you've put your mind to, but something is missing. School, career, business, community, organizations, entrepreneurship, politics, no mountain too high, no valley too low for you to conquer. You overcame the fear of failure and relished the taste of victory at every turn and have the toys to prove it. New wheels, zip code, and designers, great relationships, getaways, and outstanding community service and recognition. Created your own hole to fit your square peg. Not a typo. Yet now you realize that something has changed within you. Victories continue to come. People continue to seek you, but external validation is no longer as satisfying as it is to be used and doesn't last nearly as long. The bridge is out. There's a huge gap between success and happiness. It's time to define what life success means to you. and live life on fire, one of peace, joy, and ultimate fulfillment. Now, that didn't take you there. I don't know what will. Listen, we all find ourselves in that place to where we've reached the goal, right? We reached the goal, and now we've reached the goal. It's like, okay, where do we go from here? I need something else. And so that's how we are as human beings. Everybody, I know that every single person in life has been there, has experienced that, and has done that. And some of us get stuck there. Well, this guest tonight, Dr. Lynita Mitchell-Blackwell, is here to tell us how to get unstuck. Okay? So, with all of that, Dr. Lynita Mitchell-Blackwell will be right back with us right after this introduction. Now, hold your seat. Make sure you got your tea and get you a little bit of popcorn, and make sure you got that pen and paper ready. Okay? We'll be right back.
So excited that you've taken the time out to join us. Have another very special guest today. We have a CPA, we have an attorney, we have a publisher, an author, and a great speaker.
I believe that any presentation that you make needs to begin and end with courtesy. One of the things that has stuck with me my entire life that my great-grandfather used to say, who only had a third-grade education, was, "Young lady, there are 3 phrases that will get you through where education and network will not. Please, thank you, and excuse me." Every quarter, you must pay money to somebody to seed into you. I do the free stuff too. Everything is not and cannot be free. But whose life is it?
Mine.
Yeah. Whose life is it?
Mine.
Right. Do you allow somebody to come in your house and tell you how to run your furniture? No. So why in the world do you allow somebody else to tell you how you're going to live your life and feel about yourself? Coach Alexis Lior says that when you stand in front of an audience, they need to leave with something that they can use.
Queen. Yes.
Thank you so much. Man, I was like, I want to meet her too. I need that intro. I'm serious.
Yes,
I need that.
You get it. We will
Thank
definitely make sure you get it. Our producer does an amazing job with the content. Listen, we have come a long way from the day that we first started. And listen, he has taken us from the valleys and we're climbing to higher heights now. So I want to thank you so much for joining me tonight.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. And shout out to the best PR agent in the land, Shana Thornton, for making the connection. Thank you.
Shana is amazing. I miss being on the show with TNT Bows, bow ties, and apparel. Our schedules just didn't, and I'm like, I gotta make it to Mr. Triandos. I gotta make it to his show because he was just like, can you come on my show? I can't disappoint him. I can't.
I know, but y'all gonna work it out. Y'all gonna work it out.
We'll work it out. Definitely, definitely, definitely. So I'm listening to your speaking, right?
Yes.
And I'm looking at all of the credentials. And I'm like, I know, like, even if if we're not business owners, we've been in that place. I've
Yes.
talked to so many people that have jobs that are kind of like dead end jobs. They're not happy, but they don't know how to move and get unstuck. And then
Yes.
some of us just kind of, especially like the older generation, just kind of like mentally have told themselves that this is what I need to do to live. So you're just,
Yes.
it's like an automatic energizer bunny. You just go, right? There's no heart connection to what you do on a daily basis. So that's why I'm so excited to have you here, because the all of the things that you've accomplished, and we were just talking backstage in the studio about how you were, 23 when we got married, and
Mhm.
all of the things that you've accomplished that most people would look at and say, oh, that is the pinnacle of success, right? So I just want you to just share a little bit with the viewers, give them some insight and behind the scenes, like information about yourself and how you arrived to where you are right now.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I have a question. It's rhetorical, but I would like you to answer it in your heart. What happens when your dreams turn into nightmares?
Mm.
Because it was always my dream to be successful. The problem was I used other people's opinions and validations of myself to define my success, and
Mm.
I literally almost killed myself doing that.
Wow.
I grew up in a very loving home,
Mhm.
but excellence was expected.
Right.
Now, there was no spankings, no punishments when I did not do well,
Mhm.
but there was an expectation for me to do my best.
Right.
And God blessed me to do well in school. And whenever I heard, "Oh, you're just so wonderful. Oh, I love having
That
you on my
reward.
team." Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes, right?
Mhm.
I was like, "Well, I got to do more of that."
Right.
Which
Mhm.
led to doing well in high school, getting a scholarship for college, getting a great
Mhm.
job in a Fortune 100 company, a
Wow.
great guy to marry. We celebrate 24 years in August,
Oh
beautiful
my
daughter,
God.
home, and businesses. But it also led to extreme exhaustion
Mm.
and serious complications from endometriosis, which is the
Wow.
uncontrolled growth of uterine cells outside of the uterus.
Right.
And it was not until my daughter found me passed out in the middle of the floor from exhaustion, and she was only 6 at the time. And
Wow.
instead of me putting her to bed, she, because she's a sweetheart, got a pillow from her bed and put it under my head, put her little blankie over me,
Oh my gosh.
and kissed me on the forehead and said, "Good night, mommy." And the only strength that I had was to say, "Good night, baby." I couldn't
Wow.
move. But you know how you can know that something needs to change in your life, but you're not
Mhm.
really sure how,
How
what,
to make it change. Yeah. Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And that's where I was. And so when I got up, I was like, I know something needs to change, not sure what. And so I went back to doing what I was doing, which was, cheer fest.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I
Yes.
landed in the hospital.
Oh
And the
my
doctors,
goodness.
yeah, and the doctors gave me these forms that basically were like, yeah, we're not sure how this going to turn out. Because the endometriosis had traveled, it had spread everywhere and had even reached my lungs.
What?
They had never seen a case so severe. And I promised God that if He delivered me and got me out of that, that I would get serious about finding someone or an organization that could help.
Mhm.
And
Wow.
I'm very grateful that I've had a strong spiritual foundation in life,
Mhm.
but it was time to build a house,
Right.
right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
so I found a wonderful organization, the Art of Living, And the center director at that time was Mona Shah Joshi. And I learned a series of breathing techniques,
Mm,
relaxation techniques, meditations that helped me to calm myself,
mm,
to focus on what was important, and
right.
to redefine what success was for me.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yes.
And so that's how I wound up where I am now, which
Mm,
is sitting here with you, even at the end of a day, able to smile and be in joy, even when we're a little tired.
yeah.
And the difference between being in joy and happy is that
Mm-hmm.
joy is a state of mind,
Yeah.
whereas happiness, someone else is dictating that.
Yes.
You're happy when someone gives you flowers, but
Mm-hmm.
you're in joy to be able to smell the flowers.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that analogy. Oh my gosh, that is a intense
I
story.
know. I dropped
Like
that on people and they're
an
like,
intense
oh,
testimonial. No, but do you know, like literally, especially like in the day of technology where everything is like bam, 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 everything is so quick, right?
yeah.
It was so interesting that we're even discussing this because I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, there's some things that just take time, right?
Yes.
We can't rush it. We
Yes.
can't, there's nothing that we can do to change it. It's just time. Like, our body's healing. As much as we want to make it rush the healing, our bodies say no,
Yes.
time, right?
Yes. That's
If
right.
you're cooking something, yeah, you can put it in a little Instapot, you can put it in the air fryer, but it still is going to take some time,
That's
right?
right. That's
So
right.
the thing is one of the things that I really love about what you're sharing is, as women, we are so multifaceted. We can do
Yes.
a million things at one time,
Yes.
and oftentimes we burn the candle at both ends.
And the middle.
Exactly. We can find another little place we lighten it, right?
That's right.
Because we are naturally, going to be protectors. We're going to be advocates. We're going to be personal assistants for our
Yes.
children. We're
Yes.
going to be chauffeurs. We're going to like everything that they need. There, you know what I'm saying? We are all of that. On top of being, if we're married, wives, right? In addition to that, and we oftentimes put ourselves on the back burner. We oftentimes put ourselves last.
Yes.
And then we find ourselves, like you said, to the point where you can't do nothing but just surrender because your body's like, no, time.
And regarding your comment about putting ourselves last, that
Mhm.
is the worst thing that we can do.
Yes.
We have all heard the saying, you can't pour from an empty cup, and yet we
Mm.
all try to do it.
Try.
If we take the time to put ourselves first and then we're all charged up and ready, then we can be, quote, everything
Right.
to everybody because we've
Right.
first been everything to
To
ourselves.
ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. And I'm coming to a place where I'm starting to embrace that. I had a doctor's appointment with my doctor, and he was like, there's some areas that I really need you to focus on for yourself. And I'm like, just there's been a lot of stuff going on. And so for me, I was putting, my family first and business first and all of these things and forgetting about myself at the end of the day. And so I had to really hear from him and hear what he was saying, and then know what things I need to take off my plate and what things I need to readjust and realign, right? And
Yes.
really define what success looks like for me.
That's
And
right.
so like I said, when I went to your website and I read that, I was like, right. Even though I haven't reached my pinnacle of what I deem for myself as success, because I still have those goals there, I'm
Yeah.
slowly looking to find my purpose. And I'm finding that by using my gifts, right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. And that's one of the things. I don't know if you've ever listened to Dr. Miles Monroe. My
Oh,
husband's been playing his
yes. I
messages.
love Dr. Monroe.
Yes. My husband's been playing a lot of his messages, and I'm really grateful for the ministry. Even though he and his wife are passed on, they are releasing a lot of his lessons that had never been released before.
That's right.
And
That's
so,
right.
as we're listening, he was talking about really finding your purpose, because your purpose is where you're going to get fulfillment, right?
That's
And
right.
as we begin to walk in our gifts will point us to our purpose.
Correct.
And so through that, that is where we find our joy. And so now I'm like, okay, I'm starting to understand this thing a little bit more, being 46 years old.
Yes, we're the
But I'm
same
starting,
age.
I'm finally starting to process things a little bit and kind of be like, okay, well, I'm great at that. I can do that. But is that really my passion? Right. And
Right.
so my passion is what I'm finding is intertwined with my purpose. And so as I'm traveling down that road, I also realize that there are a lot of individuals who are just stuck,
Yeah.
afraid to, make a change or to adjust our lifestyles to gear towards our purpose. So one of my advisory board members, she says for passion, for profit, right? She has a for-profit business with her husband. They have a family business that his mom started, and so that's their for-profit. And then she has her for-passion business, which is something that she just loves being a part of, but it helps to kind of balance her out. Can you talk to me about what people should do when they're good at multiple things, right?
Mhm.
But haven't felt any sort of success or purpose in that? Like they don't feel fulfilled. I guess that would be what what would you tell people that you're coaching or mentoring when they're in that place?
Absolutely. So when I first started working with other people, it was
Mhm.
because I was traveling quite a bit with my first book. And I was very blessed that it became a bestseller. And people would come up and say, "How did you do that? How did you write the
Mm,
book?" And so
mhm.
that's how I started coaching and then publishing other people, the media company, and all the rest of that. Right.
Okay.
Um, and so the first client that I had was really me. Yeah, I was my first client because I had to figure out of all those things,
Mhm.
what was the thing that I absolutely enjoyed, that I loved, that I
Mm.
really flourished at. And out of all
Mhm.
those things, it was the coaching. And then
Wow.
interestingly, it was the coaching and showing other people how to establish their publishing company, their media company, their speaking empire.
Okay.
And they were willing to listen because I had done those things. I had
Mm.
established myself as an expert. And therefore, I'm not telling you to do anything that I didn't do. I'm telling you what
Yeah.
actually worked for me.
Mhm.
Now,
Mhm.
I'm sharing this with your audience to let you know that the beautiful thing about life is that if you take one step, Spirit is going to take 10 for you.
Yeah.
And there is no stepping off the road. There are no
Mm.
mistakes. Sometimes it's a mistake. The
Wow.
difference being that we look at mistakes as something we did wrong,
Right. Yes.
something that there's blame or shame, or sometimes
Mm.
both attached, right?
Mhm.
Whereas if we look at it as a mistake, just like when we come on these shows and sometimes we have to just redo it again,
Mhm.
we're not pointing fingers. We just
Right.
realize, oh my goodness, I can see a little something in your teeth. You
Yeah.
need to redo that.
Yes. Right.
That's
Right. Right.
and we look at it as just part of life. And it is
Right.
an experience that we
Mhm.
use to make us stronger. And
Right. I
that's
love
all
it.
it is. That's
I
all it
love
is.
it.
So if we're talking about picking the thing from all the things that we have going on, is
Mhm.
picking the one thing that you would do 100% of the time. Not
Wow.
necessarily free because we all have bills. I don't care how
Right.
rich you are. Georgia
Mhm.
Power wants their money every month.
Okay.
Okay. Every month.
Yes. Everybody want them.
Right. So, so we pick that thing, but we do not discard the other things that we have done. We understand that they have purpose too. And
Right.
sometimes it might take a moment before it manifests in our business as to why we
Mm-hmm.
had to go through a certain thing, but
Mm-hmm.
believe that it will come.
Wow.
Yeah.
You said a whole mouthful of several things that mistake and mistake. I
Yes.
love it.
Hmm.
I love it. I know that that's something that I have to process within myself because, like I told you, my husband and I were very young when we got married, right?
Yeah.
And so our parents raised us, they did the best that they could with what they had, because unfortunately there was a lot of knowledge that was withheld from our community so that we didn't cross certain hurdles, overcome certain hurdles, so that, you know, we didn't advance in certain ways. And so because of that, there's a lot of misinformation or unrevealed information, because you don't know what you don't know, right? And so, because of that, many of the things that my husband and I went through, we had to learn on our own. Now, there were some lessons that were taught, like, you know, pay your bills, you know, don't mess up your credit. We didn't know what credit was. And so it was
Yeah.
like, okay, the collector called, like, hey, we're going to put this on you. Okay, put it on there.
That is
That's
so
it.
true. That is the truth.
And listen, when we went to go buy a car or we went to go buy a house, and they'd be like, oh, yeah, your credit score is. And we'd be like, oh, that's what that was.
But it's like you said, if no one tells you these things, how would
Right,
you know?
right.
And it's interesting that you specifically talk about this, because I actually developed a curriculum for high school juniors and seniors
Wow.
covering all of this, because when I went to college, I was fortunate that my parents actually sat me down and went through these things with me. But I
Wow.
remember freshman year and seeing some of my friends getting these credit cards with these huge
Mm-hmm.
balances, and they're
Mm-hmm.
going shopping,
Yep.
and then you don't have a job. How are you going to
Right.
pay at least the minimum, right?
Exactly. Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
whether,
Wow.
and you need these skills whether you go to college or
Mm-hmm.
not, because
Yep.
they are not taught.
At
These
high
are
school,
life
it don't.
lessons.
Yep. Life lessons. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. I need to get with you about that because we're getting ready to do, we're planning an event. And so I know that that will be very useful tools for the young people that we'll be working with. I just went to a high school and did like a vision board party.
Okay.
And, you know, a lot of the questions that were being asked of the students, they were just kind of like, thought provoking. You know, it kind of you could see their wheels, you know, turning, but a lot of them are not prepared for post graduation. It's like, okay, I'm graduated, now what?
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's
And
right.
so, yeah, the practical stuff is what's key and what's so important. Um, Let me see. Can you tell the viewers what is unique about your business, like what you do, because you're a brand? So what's unique about what you bring to people? um I'll ask you that question first, and then I have another question after that.
Okay. The unique thing about me is that I am me.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
That is the unique thing about me.
Love it.
I know a lot of people, they lead with all of their credentials and
Mm-hmm.
their successes. And when I got started, I did the same thing. And
Mm.
then there was a call that I was on, because I believe in continuing education and learning, and when I'm in the room, I don't care what or the lack of education you have, there
Right.
is something that I'm supposed to glean from you. There's something, there's an exchange of energy that's supposed to happen, where I give
Mm-hmm.
you my attention and you give me back something as well, right?
Right.
And
Right.
this gentleman, I think his name was Russ Rusano, I think, and he said nobody cares about your credentials,
Mm.
about your education, and what you
Mm.
have achieved. What they care is how you're going to help them using those
Mm.
things. And when I heard it, it clicked for me. And that's when my business really started to turn around, because as you were very gracious in reading from my website, there is
Mhm.
nothing on there talking about I'm this and I'm that
Yeah.
and I got all this stuff like I used to
Yes.
write my bios. No, I talk
Mhm.
about what my clients get in working with me. Now, yes, I have
Mm.
a bio there that has the kitchen sink, because when people look to hire you, they are looking for
Looking
certain
at
things
your,
to
yeah.
write.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as how a person makes a decision that they are going to work with you, I have never had someone come and say, I'm hiring you because you're a lawyer. I'm hiring you because you're a CPA. No, they're hiring me because I have achieved a certain result and they
Mm.
want it for themselves.
Got you.
So it all comes back at the end of the day with service. How
Thank
can I
you.
serve you?
Yes.
How can I make your life better?
Hmm.
That's
And
what
that
it
goes
is.
back to what you said about your grandfather. Please, thank
Yes.
you, excuse me.
Yeah.
Just common courtesy things.
Yes.
So when people reach out to you, what are a couple of the great, like the most common issues that you find that your clients have when they come to you? Are there any topics or any questions or any issues that you find are more prevalent amongst, overall your clients?
Absolutely. It's you would be like an ideal client. You have
Mm-hmm.
your fingers in a whole lot of pies,
Mm-hmm.
and they are actually doing very well,
Right.
but you are a little overwhelmed and you're thinking to yourself, okay, now what?
Right.
And that is what it comes down to. Now, how do we take the next step?
Got
Now, for
you.
some of my clients, it really is just looking at it and saying, okay, this is not really serving you
Mhm.
or the people that proclaim to be your clients. So let's
Mm.
in this business line, let's sell this business. Whereas with
Mm.
others, it's just, well, you just need to hire somebody.
Got you. Got you.
Yeah.
Got it.
Because what you were talking about, nobody told us about credit. Well, no one really
Mhm.
told us how to run a business either.
Exactly. Yeah.
At what point is it time to bring somebody on? What
Mm-hmm.
point can we safely delegate? At one point do we go from hiring a virtual assistant to hiring a manager to hiring a CEO
Mm.
over this division of what we have?
Yes.
And
Come
see, that's
on.
one of the things that really gets people caught up. I was actually listening to one of my favorite commentators this evening on my way home, and the name of his segment was Everything is Not Okay. And
Mm.
he is a bona fide certified multi-million dollar entrepreneur with various business lines, and he was complaining, or I should say sharing his grief, because there is a difference. He was sharing
Mhm.
his grief about having all these open positions and not being able to
Mm.
fill them. And one of the
Mm.
people in the chat said, well, what are you looking for? And he said, well, and he named one of the people on his staff, so and so needs an assistant. There is nothing about that that is appealing.
Right.
And your organization should not be so flat that,
Mm.
you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
That you are here making that kind of money, and there is just one line, one flat line where everybody reports to you,
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
talking about, I need so and so needs an assistant. No,
Yeah.
your director of community engagement
Yep.
needs a manager,
Yep. Yeah.
but nobody
Yes.
talks to us about those things.
Yes. Yes. And see, that's the kind of stuff that I'm very good at myself, is being able to look at an organization and help them to figure out their operating procedures. Like really
Yes.
make sure that your structure, your corporate structure is functional,
Yes.
and that it's leaving you the room to leverage, your working capital, but at the same, to grow the brand, right?
That's
Because it's
right.
so important as visionaries and as CEOs that we have the time to imagine and to dream and to
Yes.
come up with new
Yes.
innovative ideas to
Yes.
continue
Yes.
to grow the brand. Because one of the biggest issues with businesses is that we get stuck in our success and we stop moving.
Yes.
And then because you stop moving and you've stopped growing and you've stopped reimagining things, now your competitors have caught up to you and they've surpassed you. And now you're trying to play catch up, right?
That's right.
So it's so important that we do have someone that can make the observation like what you just said and say, hold on, your organization is flat. We need to do some restructuring here because you shouldn't be looking for a manager for your community relations, director or CEO. That person should have some type of structure to where now they are able to say, my staff, we need this. We're looking for
That's
this
right.
type of employee. You get what I'm saying? Like that should
That's
never
right.
even touch you as a CEO,
That's
right?
right.
And so those are things that I feel like that's the areas where we kind of lack that education because as Black people, we can hustle. We can listen. You
Yeah.
listen. You give us a pipe and some tape and some string, honey. We gonna make that thing a car, whatever we need.
That is the truth. Oh my goodness.
Listen.
Yes. Yes.
Don't get it twisted. Hey, I might not be able to afford no fishing pole, but let me get a branch off of a tree and a piece of
Yes.
string, and make a little hook, honey. We gonna eat tonight. I'm going
That's right.
fishing.
That's
You
right.
know, like that we are very resourceful in that aspect, and oftentimes we get stuck in that vein,
Yes.
right? We don't see that. Okay, and that's why I was sharing with my husband. I said, oftentimes we say, oh, we want to have multiple streams of income. Honey, no, give me rivers.
Oh, I love that. Give me rivers of income.
Give me
Yes.
rivers, honey. That's the way we have to open our mind because streams is like trickles of this. And no, give me streams because there's a lot of life in them streams, baby. They get direct feed from the ocean, honey. Like, and
Yes.
that those are the that but as CEOs, when we get to that place, we can begin to reimagine and open those floodgates so that we have room to create ways to bring in that extra income. So now I have another question for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we're looking at what would you say to a person who is employed, right? They have a job
Mhm.
and their side hustle is they have a business, but they're oftentimes very exhausted and tired from working their 9 to 5, right? You got children, you might be a single mom, you might be a single dad, and you have this business that you've reached a cap. Like you started this business, it's a side hustle, but you're at a standstill. You can't move forward because you don't necessarily have the staff and you don't have the capital to hire more staff, but your business, the demand for your brand or your service is there. You just can't move forward without bringing somebody else in to help you while you're still working your 9 to 5. What is your suggestion for a person that's in that type of situation?
So the first thing is it's a mindset shift. You no longer have a hustle. You are called
Mm,
a dualpreneur. You
wow.
have two rivers of income
Yeah.
because that first one, your 9 to 5, that pays the bills and it also
Mm,
provides your insurance.
mm,
Those things allow you the opportunity and the space to be creative, to
mhm.
work in your gift, which is your business. So
Right.
that's the first thing. The second
Okay.
thing is we give first fruits.
Mm,
Many times as dualpreneurs, we work the other person's job and then come home and we want to do our thing late in the night after we are
mm,
depleted. For
right.
those clients that actually listen to me, because sometimes they're just like, this is the way I've learned to do it. I'm like, all right.
Right. Yes.
But you asked me how I did it. So I'm telling you, you got to get up early in the morning and you work on your stuff
Mm,
first.
wow.
Even if it's just an
Good.
hour, you start
Mhm.
with your stuff first.
Got you.
Because what will happen, and I learned this from Dr. Michael J. Duckett during my life coach certification.
Mm,
The mind, once it's engaged, even if you have to cut it off, it can't wait to
it's
get back
working.
to what it was working on. So
Got
even
you.
if you get up early in the morning, you
Mm-hmm.
work for an hour and you have to cut off mid-sentence and go and work the 9 to 5, you can't wait to get back to what you're working on. And now you have that energy to take you through as long as you need.
Got it. I love that.
Isn't that amazing?
That
Yes.
is amazing.
So when I have big projects, I have a book that needs to be completed, I have the edit, one of my clients needs me,
Mm-hmm.
I am working on that in the morning.
Got you.
Yeah.
Wow.
First,
I love that. I haven't heard that sort of advice prior to. I've heard, you go to your job, you do that, then you come home and you work your business. But I'm thinking about, again, as women, our jobs just don't stop with a 9 to 5, right? We're
that's
we're
right.
mothers 24/7, we're wives 24/7.
Yeah,
We are personal assistants to our children. They got to go to the doctor, especially you have more than one child.
that's right.
You got to be engaged with their school and their education. If
That's
they're
right.
doing after school curriculum and activities, you're involved with that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like by the time you get home from work and running the children around and doing all that you do, there's really nothing left for yourself, you
Right.
know? And a
But
lot of women face that, like,
right.
especially nowadays where it's not an option to be a homemaker for most of us. We need 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 incomes.
Well, think of it like this. If you really focus and put your efforts, time, talent, skill into that one thing
Mhm.
and raise it like you would your child till it can cook, clean, feed itself.
Self-sustaining, yes.
That's right. And
Hmm.
then you can go off and do the next thing.
Love it.
When I first started out, I had like 5 different things going at the same time, and it
Mm.
was exhausting. And like I shared, it really put
Mm.
me in a bad state health wise.
Got
And
you.
so I pared everything down so that
Mm.
it's my law firm and it's leading through living, right?
Yes.
And once I did that, I could see the shift in not just my spiritual and emotional well being, my
Hmm.
physical well being, which then manifested in my businesses as well.
Wow. Wow. That's good. Let me wait. Listen. Listen, honey, this teacup. Yeah, I
I
hope y'all
love
got them
it.
teacups. Listen, I ain't even took not now. No, honey. I'm just so engaged. I'm like, okay, this is good tea. I gotta take a sip. I'm sorry.
Okay, you take a sip, girl. I
Mm.
bought my water bottle.
Listen. I tell all of my guests, like when it was the show is called T-Shirts and Tea Tuesdays, honey. We sip on tea, and when the tea is real good, I'm sipping. Sometimes it be so good I forget to sip. So I just had to make up a little bit right there. Make up for the times that I don't forgot to sip. But I want to say good evening to one of our friends of the show, and she's also my mother-in-law, Stella Rush. Good evening, mother-in-law. She tunes in like every Tuesday for the show.
Hey, Miss
Um,
Stella.
yes, thank you so much for tuning in. So now, for a person, so okay, we covered the individual who's doing the side hustle. They now are at a place where they're no longer side hustling. Like you said, it's time to make the mental shift. Now you got two rivers of income, and
Mhm.
so how are we going to deal with that? What about the person who is stuck in a job and absolutely miserable, right? In this job, and they feel as though they have ideas, they're passionate about something, but they're afraid to step out and start an actual business doing what they actually could earn income from doing. What do you say to those individuals?
So there are 2 things that you just said that are so important. Every lesson, every opportunity that the divine spirit brings to us is an
Mhm.
opportunity for us to grow. And if we don't get the lesson the first time, then it is represented later. And you can change the
Mhm.
names, you can change the circumstances, but
Mhm.
something about it is going to trigger some deja vu. And you're going to realize, I'm back here again. Okay.
Golly.
I'm right. I'm saying this because you're in this job that you hate. We have to learn to love and appreciate something about that job, even if it's,
Mm.
quote, just the check, even if
Right.
it's just the desk that we sit at, until
Mhm.
we learn to love and appreciate it, we are going to find ourselves at some point later with the same thing until we learn to be in gratitude. And that
Mm.
gratitude cannot be hijacked and determined by some external force. Just like when I was talking about this whole cheer squad thing from the
Yes.
outside,
Yes.
right? And it kept
Yeah.
coming up for me
Mhm.
because I wouldn't deal with re, redoing the narrative for myself, that I have to decide what success is and that I feel good about me regardless as to what other people think or say, right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's the first thing. The second thing is, as we are going through that gratitude journey, now
Mhm.
we have these positive feelings that we can have as we are searching for the next thing. And
Mm.
then that thing will come to us gravitationally, like magnets, right?
Yeah.
It will come to us, and we will know and we'll be able to make an informed decision. I Let me see. This this must have been about 5 or 6 years ago. I was working for a litigation firm, and I
Mhm.
did not like it. I didn't like it because they had some really filthy ways up in that place, right? And
Mm.
I
Yeah.
remembered saying to Lord, I was like, I really want to be delivered from this.
Mhm.
But I was not hearing next steps. And so it wasn't until I was able to say, but I am grateful for the people because they were
Mhm.
lovely. I'm
Yeah.
grateful for the work because it did
Mm.
sharpen me and enable me to step out and do my own thing, right?
Got you. Mhm.
I was grateful for the opportunities that came because I got
Mhm.
licensed in another state. That
Wow.
the next opportunity came, and that
Mm.
next opportunity was big, and it required me to step out big on my faith. But that could not have happened in that way if I had had a really funky stank attitude that
Got
matched that
you.
place.
Got you. Wow. Find the lights.
Yes.
Find that thing that just, keeps you fueled, right?
Yes.
Grateful for where you are. I
Yes.
love that. I love that. My mother-in-law said, I'm loving the show tonight. Thank you
Oh,
so
thank
much.
you, Miss Stella.
Yes, she said she's loving the show tonight. So, and that kind of leads me, I have like two more questions for you.
Sure.
So that kind of leads me into also discussing for our older generation, right? She's like our OG generation, that generation that has the wisdom, that
Yes.
has the insight, that seen the world in different stages prior to us, right? That can come in and say, well, no, you might want to, for those for that generation, our OG generation that has not yet ventured into business ownership or hasn't even imagined that they have anything to offer to the world, what would you say to that baby boomer generation that has yet to delve into business ownership and just operating, in their passion?
I have 3 words: Auntie's Baked Goodies. AuntiesBakedGoodies.com. My mother, at the age of 75, launched her bakery. Yep. And she is doing very well.
Wow. Are you serious? Let me
Well,
write
think
this.
about it. Think about it from this. We're talking about boomers, but the boomers are living long. It is
Yeah,
not crazy to
yeah,
look at someone and say they're going to live to be 100. Many
yeah,
more people are living to be 100. When people
yes.
die in their
That's
50s
true.
and 60s now, we freak out.
Yeah,
It was so young. Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
yeah. That's the truth.
So if
Yes,
we look at it from the perspective that 50 is half of 100,
hmm,
you are just moving on to the second half of your life. That means if at 75, you got at least 25 years of good living.
yes,
You
yes,
absolutely should be starting businesses. You absolutely
yes.
should be consulting.
Love it, love it,
Yes.
love it. Yes. Oh my gosh. I kind of shared the same thing with my aunt, because her thing was she always wanted to go to college. She never, I guess she didn't feel as though she really could, because again, children, life, her job was very demanding. But now she's at a place where she retires on Thursday from being a representative for veterans to get their benefits. And I was telling her, I said, you have all of the knowledge and wisdom and insight that a lot of our veterans need to help them to get their benefits. So just because you retired from the 9 to 5 doesn't mean that you can't open up a consulting firm to give these individuals, and they will pay you for it, right? Because there's so many of them don't know how to, access the benefits that they're rightfully entitled to.
Absolutely. And, I don't know why more people don't think about this. If you are not comfortable starting your own business and you just want to be a consultant, why not find an established company that you can just come in maybe a couple of times a week and help out? Like, particularly with veterans benefits, find a law firm that specializes in VA benefits.
Yep, and becoming a consultant for them.
Absolutely.
Come on, cheers.
Cheers! Cheers! I got my water. Cheers! Yes.
Yeah, that's good tea, honey. Good
Yes.
tea. Oh my gosh. Yes. Oh my gosh, that was good. Oh my goodness. So I'm hoping that all of our audience is hearing what you are saying, and really processing it and taking it in. The other question that I have for you, I have 2 more questions. I know it's always 2 more questions. I promise you it's going to be just 2 more questions.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, so the next question that I have for you, it is for individuals that might be unemployed right now, right? They, having a hard time finding work, but you need to pay, take care of your family. Those individuals might have, what do you suggest that they can do while they're waiting on employment to build some, or to generate some type of revenue or income? Do you recommend that they start a business? How do you feel like, what do you think that they should do to navigate through that? Because that's something that's happening more and more. I know we see the numbers on TV that say unemployment is dropping and everybody's working, but there are still a lot of people that just, are not able to find jobs, and or they have a job that cannot cover their necessary expenses. We ain't talking about luxury. We talking about necessary expenses. What do you say to those individuals?
So a couple of things. The first thing is, if you are in a place where you are totally and completely tapped out of cash and your reserve is all burned out, then that means your pride is as well. That's not a bad thing. And so now you're in a place where you can get out and you can just ask, and you keep asking until you get response. When I stepped out to start my firm, I was like, I gotta do something else here, because at the time, the company that I was working for, I was a recruiter, things had gotten really slow. And so where I had gone from closing maybe 5 or 6 deals in a month, I hadn't closed anything that month, because this was about the time of the recession.
Right.
And so I was like, I gotta do something. And my mother said, go down to that firm, because one of my girlfriends, her fiance had a firm at the time, and he had work coming out the ears, but he was so busy, he didn't have time to interview anybody. He didn't have time to review any resumes. My mom said, go put on your suit and go down there, and you sit in his lobby until he comes see you. And that's exactly what I did.
Okay, and mama, that's wisdom.
That's wisdom. See, that's what I'm saying about the older generation with consulting.
Yeah.
That was a consult, right?
Yeah, that was definitely a consult. Yeah.
And he was so impressed by the fact that with no appointment, I still got all spiffed up, sat down, and I was willing to wait for as long as I needed to. That it started with some contract work here or there, and then he actually helped me to build my business. Wow. Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes, but sometimes your feet have to hit the bottom of the pool that
Mm,
you can go up.
got you. I
Because you're
love
not,
that analogy.
yeah, you're not
Mhm,
in a place to receive instruction or
mhm.
advice because you're still trying to do. You're
Right.
not willing to open yourself up for
Mhm.
any type of help from another person or from God.
Right. Got you. Mhm,
Right.
mhm.
Um,
Wow.
yeah. Now, if you are in a place where you're blessed to have resources, then there is something that you can do. There's some skill that you have that,
Mhm.
honestly, there are some people who are totally and completely recession proof that they will pay for.
Mm.
I have a client who is actually looking to expand into government contracting because he has a 9 to 5 with tractor trailers,
Okay.
and but his passion is actually detail work on cars,
Mm.
and um, he was able to do that because he had the resources to get
Got
the
you.
materials so that he could set up to do the detail. He will
Got
go to
you.
you, and then on
Mm.
Saturdays he sets up at one of the local gas stations
And
and
does it.
and
Yeah.
does it.
Yeah. That's see,
But
that's what I'm
that's
talking
how,
about.
yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about with our people is like we have it. Like
Mhm.
and then that leads me down the last question. So you have individuals like myself and like yourself who are um just talented and gifted in so many ways, got so many different gifts, and you have all of these gifts in your hands. You're working in different areas, but yet you're not generating enough income or revenue. We don't know how to monetize or actually hone in on what it is from each gift that we can take and use to actually generate revenue. What do you say to individuals like that?
You start with one first.
Mm, love
And
it.
there is something in that gift that produces income, and it will lead to the next thing. And it'll be 10 years next month. I couldn't believe it. But when I wrote my first book and I put it out to the world, I really did not know what to expect.
Mm,
And candidly speaking, the money does not come from book sales. The money comes
mm,
from speaking engagements. But
that's
when
it.
I started, I had
Mm,
no idea there was a such thing as a paid speaker, that was even an industry.
mm,
People read the book, they liked it, and they invited me to come talk about it. And
got
then one day
you.
somebody put money in my hand, and I was just like, this is cool. I like this, right?
Mhm.
Which then required me I started doing research, and there were all these websites totally and completely dedicated to hiring speakers. And
Wow.
right, and I was like, this is amazing. So
Mhm,
then that led me to develop my brand, develop my areas of expertise so that
mhm.
people would invite me to come and speak.
Got you.
But that came from the book.
Got you.
That was the focus. That was where
Wow.
we began.
Wow. And you used it as a launching pad to just, build on the rest. That was the foundation. The
That's
foundation
right.
was laid. So now you're building on to these layers and layers and
That's right.
layers. I
That's right.
love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. Now, can you tell viewers what is it that your law firm does? What does your law firm do?
Absolutely. So my specializations are estate planning, so wills, advanced directives,
Mm,
trusts, conservatorships, as well as residential real estate. Most of my clients are large title companies,
mhm,
and also business law, so helping entrepreneurs, small businesses. Most recently, I also started working with the relaxer cases.
okay.
Yeah, most people at this point have seen the commercials
Mhm,
where there has now been a causal link between the chemicals in hair straightening products that are
mm,
normally used by women of color because we
yep.
have textured hair,
Mhm.
and the health challenges like myself,
Me too.
endometriosis,
And my
right?
daughter.
Right. fibroids,
Mm-hmm.
hysterectomy, uterine
Mm-hmm.
cancer,
Mm-hmm.
ovarian cancer. And so I've been working with women like us, and I am actually also a plaintiff, to get justice for us and to get that, forgive the expression, get that crap off the shelves.
Yes, take it off the shelves. We
Yes.
still, even still, women hear about these things because I've been hearing about that for a long time, and I can't remember the last time I had a relaxer. My body just was like in a place where it was completely rejecting relaxers. It was like, your hair finna come all the way out. Every time you think to put some on there, it's coming all the way out, and it would just shed like by the handfuls. And I'm like,
Yes.
oh, I can't do relaxers anymore. So, that was what made me stop. And then I just completely stopped putting the relaxers in my girls' hair because I have 3 girls. I think
Yes.
my oldest daughter, she was getting them more often than the last 2 were. But listen, I had no idea, attorney.
Yeah.
Attorney,
I know
I
it.
had no idea, Attorney Mitchell-Blackwell, that this is what you did. So this opens up a whole new conversation and dialogue. Listen, guys, if you are watching and you were one of those individuals that did relaxers, you're experiencing endometriosis, fibroids, you've had to have a partial hysterectomy, and you were one of those ones that put that creamy crack in your hair to straighten it out, you definitely need to reach out to attorney. Yes, LMB law offices, guys, please. And this is
Yes.
it's amazing to have an attorney who looks like you, because now, because this is a personal journey that she's had to travel down, there's more of an understanding, right? There's more of an overstanding of what is actually going on. So we definitely want to reach out to you and listen. And I love the fact that you're doing estate. Now, are you into asset protection for businesses?
No, I don't do
No.
asset
Okay.
protection, but I'm
Okay.
happy to refer you. Um,
Got you.
when I was talking about like being focused,
Mm-hmm.
I
Stay
got
in
my
your lane.
areas. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, you, well, I meet people who get greedy, and that's when you
Mhm.
get sloppy and you make mistakes that
Make
hurt
a lot of
people.
mistakes. Yeah. I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. I agree. I agree. Love it. And then now also on the CPA side, are you taking clients on the CPA side?
No, at this point, I have one client. It's the church. They won't let me go. And so,
They're like, no, ma'am. No, ma'am, no ham, no jam, no poker beans. No.
right. But, I use those skills when I'm working with my legal clients because
Okay.
they have to have that consult. And a
Got
lot of times, actually, with my coaching clients as well, because I'm helping them to establish their business. And depending on what they
Mhm.
have going on, there will be tax implications depending on the structure that they select, you
Got
know?
you. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That's very true. Like I'm an S corporation.
Hmm.
So I'm like, I just declared S corporation status last year. And I'm like, so I got to file my tax before March 15th. What?
Yes, yes, yes. As opposed to when you had the LLC, it was all the
Yeah.
personal because it all
Yeah.
yeah, it
Yeah.
flow down.
So I think I
Hmm.
kind of prematurely did that because you should be making a certain dollar amount to
That's right.
file under the corporation status. So there are a couple things that I was just kind of like, ooh. I was expecting to be in a certain place by a certain time, but then COVID just came and like, no, you're not.
I understand, and we're just going to decree and declare here together. We're touching and agreeing
Mhm.
that it was not premature, that you were just preparing for what will happen by the end of
Amen. I
2023.
receive it. I
There we
receive
go.
it. I
There we
receive
go.
it. I believe that. I believe that with my whole heart. Yes, ma'am. So now let's let the people know where they can find you. So that we can listen. We need to be a part of one of your seminars, one of your speaking engagements. Like, let us know where to find you because you're a wealth of information, like literally like a fountain of information. So we need to know where we can find you.
Absolutely. So my website, which is my name, LynitaMitchell-Blackwell.com, or if you're looking for a lawyer that's barred in Georgia and Alabama, it's lmblaw.officespc.com. And as far as where I will be next, I actually have a couple of speaking engagements in March, and I'm looking to the side to pull those up. The first one is on March 11th, and that is, let's see, with Dr. Monica White, and it's a leadership seminar for elementary and middle school students. And then the next is on March 18th, where I'm actually a panelist for Diana Philippus's empowerment event. And I'm really excited because Beverly Johnson, the model, is going to be the keynote. And so I am really hyped about those two things coming up in the next month. Later on in the year, I will be rolling out a new program, and this is for entrepreneurs, and it will be an estate planning program where they, working with me, will be able to create the plan, and they will be able to update that information based on what's going on in their lives. And we have some really cool things to go with that, so I'm excited. And I think I'm by myself. So until y'all come back, I will tell you that I have my most recent book, Live Life on Fire, the ultimate guide to living a successful life full of peace, joy, and fulfillment. And I wrote that book last year. It is truly providing the framework for how to move from a life where someone else tells you what success and happiness is to a life that you create that is full of joy. And as I shared earlier in the program, that life of joy, it is a mindset of sustainability. It is something that is there and is unmovable no matter what other people have going on. The book is available on Amazon right now as a paperback, a hardback, ebook with Kindle, and also on Audible. And it is divided up into 4 distinct parts. We have silence, breathe, we have flow, and we have meditate. And all of these things work to create a life of awe. When you get to the place where you are able to live your life in awe, it is a place that you feel comfortable using your intuitive knowledge or your intuitive quotient. We're all familiar with IQ, intellectual quotient. That's book learning, right? And then we have emotional quotient, which is how we interact with other people. Hey there, I was just telling the audience about my last book here.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you great now.
Okay.
I was just telling the
I
audience
can't
about
hear her.
You can't hear me. Oh.
Sorry, you all. We had a little glitch with technology. I do apologize.
Tech is great.
And she carried it, y'all. She carried it. Yes, honey. Okay, let me see. Let me get the volume. Oh, I was on mute. Okay, can you hear me now?
I hear you great.
Okay, awesome. Awesome. I can, but I'm just trying to find the volume on here. I'm not able to see it. One moment, everyone. I'm trying to. It's not showing me. Okay. I'm only seeing. Okay, there we go. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for holding it down for us. I'm so happy that you did that. I was like, everything just went black. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on?
know what? Tech is great when it works.
It works. Exactly. I'm like, oh my goodness. So thank you so much for holding it down for me. I appreciate that. So yeah,
No
I'm sure
problem.
you already went through everything and just kind of share with everyone where we can find you. But I'm definitely going to have you back. And I want to even discuss with you, inviting you out to do something where I am, just to be able to share all of the information and insight that you have. Like one of the things that we're seeing a lot in Florida, specifically St. Petersburg, is in the Black community. There's a lot of gentrification that's going on all over the country, right? And so we were discussing as a group, myself and a couple other leaders within the community, who are entrepreneurs and doing a great, doing great within their own industries, about getting the older people together and kind of sharing with them ways that they can protect their assets, right? Because what we're finding is that those individuals, even though they might have like a will or what have you, their houses are getting held up in probate, and these investors are finding ways to um, snatch away those assets, right? And so now we understand, like you said, trust and things like that, finding alternative ways for our older generation to protect their homes when they do pass away. Having that trust can help kind of keep their stuff out of probate, right? So just, having different options that we can present to our older generation so that they can have some kind of peace and know, like, if I put my house in a trust, I can dictate what I want done with the property. I can really basically, in essence, determine how these assets how this asset should be, should function, and who the beneficiaries are going to be and things of that nature. So I would love to have you, just speak to our people about ways in which we can kind of bend the curve a little bit from where we were before.
I would love to. And actually, I am coming to the excuse me, Orlando area the first week in April. My daughter is
Mhm.
on vacation. Um, yeah, for spring
Wow.
break. And so we're going on down there
Oh
for that.
my gosh.
Yeah, so I would, if we can swing it sometime between the 2nd and the 5th. So yeah,
Okay. Yeah, let's dialogue. Let's have a conversation about it, because we could do something very, it doesn't have to be a huge thing. Just
yeah,
inviting some people into the room and just kind of setting a plan together on how we should navigate and move in that particular vein. I would love to do that.
awesome. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it. I think it'll be something that a lot of people who are really interested in making sure that we're holding on to our communities and our assets. We can figure out how to do that with
Yes.
someone that's knowledgeable in that area. You being an attorney, would just be amazing.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm always happy to serve. Yes.
Yes, Dr. Lynita Mitchell-Blackwell in the house, honey. Listen, my producer had to put some more tea in my cup because I was running low, honey. Listen,
Too
I was
funny.
running low because you brought so much great wealth of information. Listen, guys, when you go over to her Instagram page, you're going to find that she has a link tree, a list of different services that she offers. You can click on anyone that applies to you. She also has her website, so you can always join the website and find information there. Make sure that you guys are hooking up, especially if you are a Black woman who's had relaxers and you're dealing with any sort of, partial hysterectomy, whatever the case may be, any of those things you want, even if you don't know whether or not it's affected you or not, you still want to just make sure and hook up with attorney Lynita Mitchell-Blackwell. And so, listen, I want to say thank you so much for coming on, for joining me this evening, and thank you so much for holding it down.
It's truly my pleasure. No problem.
Yes, and I will definitely be in touch. It'll probably be tomorrow because I have more of an open schedule tomorrow where I'll reach out to you and see what we can get done, because we got to move. We got to get it.
Sounds good. Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. Thank you so much, Attorney Blackwell. We will be in touch. And I would definitely love for you to come on a little bit more and kind of share a little bit more about the lawsuits that's going on with the relaxers and stuff with Black women.
I would love that. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
No problem. I appreciate you joining us. You have a great evening.
You too.
Thank you. All right, guys, listen, y'all go ahead and give Attorney Lynita Mitchell-Blackwell, our expert advisor for the evening, a round of applause, honey. She did her thing. She came and poured in. She filled these teacups up, honey, and I hope y'all are drinking it down, that you have, you written notes. And if you have questions, make sure to reach out to her. I also would love for you all to give us some hearts tonight. And also, listen, again, next week for T-Shirts and Tea Tuesdays, we're going to have attorney Brian Tooks on the show as our expert advisor. He's an attorney who deals in the patent and trademark industry. So as business owners, or if you're thinking about going into business, these are things that we need to discuss. I was just actually dealing with someone who has a brand, redesigning her brand, and before she could even get it out good enough, somebody else had already started copying the brand, honey. So we have to protect ourselves. We have to protect our brand. We have to protect our assets in our business, right? And so Attorney Tooks is going to come on tomorrow. He's going to share that information with us. In the meantime, in between time, make sure y'all tune in on next Tuesday evening for T-Shirts and Tea Tuesdays, honey, at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And make sure you got those teacups, because as always on T-Shirts and Tea Tuesdays, that tea is tantalizing, effervescent, acumen, and it's piping hot. Okay, so we will see you all on next Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next Tuesday. God bless and good night.